The first question goes to Mr. President. Where are we in this artificial intelligence? It was said by Mr. Tvaruk, who was mentioning this 2 or 3%, and the report of the World Economic Forum. The lighthouses, the best factories that utilize AI, are mainly located in Asia. There is a map that is included in the report. 3 in 4 factories are located in Asia, 1 in 4 in Europe. In Europe, none. I don't know whether they skipped this in the analysis or they are inferior. Where are we now? Are these main industries or corporations that opened up their centers, be it Volkswagen or any other factory? Chipsets are produced, or Polish companies are already using these ones, including debative ones for predictive maintenance. I'm speaking about artificial intelligence. Let me start with a reservation up front. I represent Globe ME, which is a mid-size Polish software company. We don't have ABB and Huawei representatives with us. We are not an A-class company like Apple, Amazon, Alphabet. We are a partner of Google. We are a partner of General Electric, of Microsoft. But still, our research and development budget and our perspective is related to the fact that a vast majority of our income is earmarked for research and development work, and machine learning is included into this scope. This is the upfront reservation. In order not to make you feel that we are big enough to assess global trends. My perception of the question is, where are we? Where can we be in Poland? From the perspective of the company and the reservation made at the beginning, I'd put it this way. We are at the beginning of the road. We are experimenting. If I were to say whether the markets we are in impact us and push us to use artificial intelligence so that it is implemented in the processes and systems, I'd say no. We haven't felt this kind of pressure. But on the other hand, it's not creating new trends to react to clients' pressure. I don't regard it the company's missions, bearing in mind all the reservations, but to a scale of our company, it's in our DNA to be on the wave with the information, to be ready for situations that might occur. Artificial intelligence algorithms were implemented in our research and development projects and products a few years ago. I can put it this way. It was distributed energy sector, renewable energy sources generation forecasting, coupled with technical parameters, weather forecasting, and PV settings. Wonderful. It was 7 or 8 years ago that we started tackling the thing, and we clashed against a wall in the Polish market because the interest waned off. They were no longer interested in this business sector's development. Companies like ours need to take into consideration the fact that if you want to jump head first into new technologies, you may land with something nice. Everybody says, wonderful. It was nice to be presented the accolade that was handed out yesterday. but there was just a handful of clients that used our solutions to do forecasting in energy sector. We treated this as a driver to give us a different market position. However, this has not happened. On a positive side, we can say, okay, we are ready. It will be easier to take the next step should anything happen. The problem of a touch point between solution vendor or creator with machine learning or AI capabilities on board and prospective clients in industry can be seen from yet another perspective. There is a key element indicated in both presentations. This being the data that is of utmost importance for machine learning and artificial intelligence. I used to work at university for years, so I'm going to give you a kind of image like for the students that begin the university courses. For the algorithm to be efficient, swift and correct, to produce the best possible results, this needs to be based on data. It keeps learning. Therefore, it must be based on good data. In order for us to have good data, the client, the user, must be interested in our access to the best possible data. If I were to say that I have observed it with prospective clients, that would be a lie, because the data remains the secret. Therefore, why should we make very important data, historic data, available, be it digital or paper? If somebody comes and says, we'll scan and OCR your documentation, am I speaking too long? And then it will be in a digital domain with automated methods. We might create a topology for that. But what we need is robust data so that our algorithms can learn. Otherwise, it will produce negative results. What is of key importance, besides us appealing to the companies and the industry that considers implementation of artificial intelligence, in addition to education and all other factors, I'd say that trust is of utmost importance. Investing into partners. Not only will they learn and teach the stuff in the basic of artificial intelligence, but also they'll be able to use the new technologies and harness them for processes so that it produces benefits for a company. That we don't know. Yesterday we had AI discussion. It was the first FGTIME panel. What we discussed in one of the documents referred to by Marek, the EU strategy on data, there is data spaces element. The place the data is exchanged and gathered. So about the national cloud, once it is in place, will it speed up digitization process amongst clients? Because this is one of the ways to have well-described digital data, which is not the case of many clients. They don't have it because we're speaking about paper. Do you have any ideas how to share the data in a safe way, to open up the data? In Poland, it must be the general life attitude or a mindset, as they call it in English, what is our mindset with regards to data availability? Is this my competitive advantage? If I transfer it to my partner and I have the NDA attached, will it disappear and vanish? Data needs to be transferred because Globema will not create solutions. Piotr and Accenture, do you have any experiences with regards to data strategies? Yes, indeed. Referring to what Marek was speaking about, Piotr, you reiterated that this is the mindset or mentality thing. As long as we have this kind of taking everything in, that you want to create all your capabilities on your own, the process will not develop. Organizations must become mature enough to decide that sharing with partners that boast greater experience and therefore data value utilization may benefit us, this organization. This is something that I tried to show you in the presentation, this kind of platform time thinking. Not only do we think about what we do with the data, but what can we gain by making the data available and taking only a part of the gain. Speaking about our experiences, because this is what you were asking about, data strategy projects, how do we see them? Not on a domestic arena. It's a good question. Can you reveal the continent or the country? Andrzej Sobczak, SGH University professor, was presenting about finances, and artificial intelligence in finance was referred to, and he said that he knows just one bank, and he talked to many, has got this kind of strategy in place, or at least an outline. Other banks don't even know whether they want to have the data strategy or not to mention AI. What is it like in the world? I'm sharing my organization's experience. It cannot be compared with other undertakings. Speaking about financial sector, Near East, all financial institutions, not only banks, but also government agendas, insurance companies need our offering, and this is delivered as the response to great clients' interest. They see that without a vision that provides an inventory of the data, where the data is missing, where are the collection points for the data, this is very important. If somebody makes historical data available, but it was ad hoc collected data, it will not be useful for artificial intelligence. You need to know what kind of data to select. Where is the 0 point? From now on, our strategy informs. We collected data to do this or this or that in a few years' time. Without a roadmap, you cannot develop robust solutions. You can do it anyhow, but these will not be excellent ones, taking into consideration the border conditions for an organization. A word of comment. It comes as a reason because there is artificial intelligence minister residing in Dubai. One technical thing that the European data strategy has already taken into consideration. One thing is data collection and making available. The other thing is regime of standards on data use and cooperation. What I can see is the fact that many organizations have this kind of silo approach. My unit has got my own data. You want to get data? Create your own data. If we want to make the data available, there is so much data that we cannot control the image, the picture in a holistic way. There are no metadata catalogs. So if I want to create an algorithm that foresees transmission grids, where will I get the best quality data, even if I have the access to the whole set of data? It's more on the technological side rather than technical. The world of finance, PST2 and other power engines, powerhouses. 2 or 3 years, more and more organizations will assume this holistic view, if not for their own perspective, but it will be pushed by the market, competition in the market. Everybody says, I want to be AI. What I expect is the strategy of artificial intelligence, but I don't have data governance strategy. I don't know how to share it. You were indicating the guidelines for the panel, so we were wondering what can be recommended from us sitting at the high table. In order to answer this specific question, I'll put it this way. In our country, well, compared with Middle East, this is treated differently. But there is this my data, my treasure mindset. If this is to change, we may appeal or request the government and government-related organizations so that public data is made available. We are a geolocation company, maps, facilities, support for those working in the field. Well, there is an avalanche of data in a public domain, but making them available, that's a miracle, because administrative procedures do not support it. The government might have supported. It would have opened the mindset. If we have to have the strategy of machine learning and AI, and the data is so important, there's a good example. We expand access to the data. Data.gov.pl is the government's portal to make the data available. Some of the institutions deliver the data. Question is how often it is updated. But the data from the sectors that would translate to the general public, like health sector, it's not in place. European Union wishes to push sharing data from medical sectors like X-ray scans throughout European Union. So there should be one touch point, well, physically a number of, but digitally one ATI, one digital interface to use this data. Because the algorithm will not find out what the tumor is without the data. You were speaking about data spaces. European Union has got the perspective of few applications. Data space for futuring, for the energy and power engineering sector, medicine, even data sharing between the data spaces. It's a step in the good direction. The information availability and browsability are restricted. Speaking about documentation rather than the results. Second of all, the data catalogs are hard to get into. Example of universities and students, or PhD students, who work on AI. I asked them, where do you get the data from? The answer is we use Google to browse for that. So availability should be controlled this or that way, or even promoted between companies of the same sector, if possible, for the benefit of the general public. And the last question, a brief one, Mr. President has already answered. In addition to the recommendations on the data availability, is there any short recommendation? I'd like to recommend or appeal to the authorities or show a kind of use case. What is missing for me is the thing that happens in foreign countries in 5G technology, but I believe this is translatable into other sectors. In Great Britain, Germany, or any country, subsidies, not big, 1, 2, 3 billion euros, but 25 billion euros programs, this is the scope. These test proofs of concept, 5G pilots. I haven't seen anything of this kind here. Telecom operators have focused on consumer test, and I believe that every network has demonstrated the possibilities. They take part in the race for 5G. How about a 50 million program to test and implement as a proof of concept in a factory or any other places? Yes, I agree with this. I venture a saying that this is my appeal. Piotr, on top of that, and let me refer to the nearest example, but please do not make any associations with that. Smart Qatar program. This is a broad scope digitization strategy for the whole country, like police, a city that is a country at the same time, and specific targeted budgets, as you are saying. One step back, the vision to show the government's or self-government's example to follow on what is the vision to use AI, 5G, all cutting-edge technologies in a broad term. This is what I wanted to show you in my presentation. How to use it in X self-government or in industry. If we bring about specific budgets for initiatives, this will be a wonderful example for business to follow. Marek? One thing I want to add. Most of AI solutions are based on foreign languages and foreign solutions. Polish language, natural language cognition is not that simple. Polish is on the roadmap in the future as chatbot. There are scientific programs that have been working on these solutions for years. Wrocław support for understanding and cognition of these languages. Not only investing lots of money onto the market and testing is the key. We need to get specific results. We need to deliver them. We deliver them or not. And this is what testing is all about. Not about creating competences and then we shall see. To finish off the panel, I want to advertise the report that has not yet been released. It will be out next week. Big data for SME sector, 10 census and us, and a future industry platform and other partners have created a guidebook how to digitize a company, what to do with the data. And this book encourages you to create the data strategy. What kind of data? Where Poland is. Interesting results because the corporations are the European average. Comes as no surprise. Banks and corporations, and there is a big gulf between them and the SME sector. Thank you very much for being part of the session. Thank you very much for listening.